Hello and welcome back to the channel again, to the Yorkshire Dales part Deux, when slopes attack. This time we'll be going to Cautley Falls, and if you haven't watched part one, I'll put it a linky thingy. Why am I doing a snake? I don't know. But anyway, if you haven't watched part one, watch part one because it'll make more sense than just watching this. You know what I mean. Most people say this. So I just wanted to highlight somewhere else that you can go, which is exceptionally well known. It's the Ribblehead Viaduct. It's in Ribblehead, you know. Classic view. The day we went, it was absolutely hammering down. And I wanted to get onto the limestone pavements, which are to the east. I think it's the east or northeast of the viaduct. Unfortunately, I put one foot on the ground and almost lost a shoe. So we didn't do that, so we just followed the path and walked down. I'll put this image up. Although this isn't a perfect image, and certainly if you go and look back at Landscape Photographer of the Year, I think there's at least one, if not two shots that have been commended for views of this viaduct. Quite rightly, because it's a fantastic kind of situation to find yourself in. For me, I've tried to just bring out the weather on the day, which was blowy, overcast, wet, and just kind of show the viaduct in, I think, what is probably natural environment, as you would call it, natural habitat, surrounded by sheep and some limestone. I didn't get any video because I wasn't getting the Pocket 2 out, because it was not worth it. It really was not worth it. Just keeping a lens element, front element dry was hard enough. But you know, each their own. People were still going up to walk up Pennygent and all the other ones around there. So we just had a wander under the viaduct and then headed off to settle. But I just wanted to show you this photo because I think it's a nice place to visit if you've got time. It's worth a little trip just to kind of appreciate, you know, people built a viaduct in this location and it's a complete git to get to. So anyway, that is Ribblehead Viaduct. No video, one photo. What more can I say? So let's move on. It's at this point I know we're in trouble. Just going up these steps, you look straight up and you go, ooh, forward? I think it's the only way, because going back down was going to burn the quads, something chronic. Whose fucking idea was this? Oh, that's right, it was mine. When you do actually get to the top, you get some lovely views over the edge of the Howard Fells, which is where we are. and you can see across to some of the bigger fells and obviously the 3 peaks. So it is worth the climb if you're up to it, and I say if, because whichever way you do this, it's a long drag any which way but loose. When you've actually finished doing all your climbing, we did stop a bit of the way round. You're actually aiming for the top of the calf, which we made it to, and it was as we were coming down that I really started to see some shots, and shots I've never seen before. I was able to start using the patches of light that were hitting the side of the Howgills, because it was probably around maybe 3 o'clock at this point, so it's not late, but you can start to see that we're just starting to get some nice breaks in the cloud. We're starting to get the undulations of the side of the hill are starting to come through. Because the actual hills were a little bit away, I'd put my Olympus 40-150 2.8 on with the teleconverter, the 1.4 teleconverter, just to give me effectively a 100 to 400 reach, and that proved really useful as we come down this bit of some of the lower part of the journey back, and we're looking along. I think it might be Howgill Creek, but somebody's going to pull me up on that, I'm sure. I just saw the interlocking nature of the hills, and the light hitting it, and at that point it was just like, right, I need to get some shots of this, because this is really nice. I'm going to show you 2 shots, a slightly wider version and then a close-up. Feel free to leave me a comment about which you prefer. I'm not going to tell you which I prefer. Suffice to say, I think one of these is possibly one of my best photos of the year, partly because I haven't seen this photo before. It's not a honeypot location. Yes, it's a bit of an accident, if you like. We happen to be walking, the conditions have to be right, but you know, you take your chances as you get them, don't you? But yeah, and I don't usually talk about processing, and actually there isn't a lot of processing done on this. What I tend to do is, because I tend to shoot in Olympus's natural colour profile, when I bring it into Lightroom, I use the calibration panel, which not a lot of people play with, I don't think, but I would always advise, especially with Micro Four Thirds in a natural profile, give everything a bump by about +20, so shadows, reds, blues and greens, and just see what happens. You can always blend it off a bit, but that's how I start, and that's what I've done here. And I've just given the orange and the yellow channels a little bit of a push as well, so very little, maybe just on the orange and yellow channels, maybe +3 to +5, not a lot. But then what I did was I used the colour luminance mask ability within Lightroom to pick some colours, notably some of the yellows, and actually just start to bring out those lighter yellows a bit more, to give them a bit of a kind of draw your eye to the patches of sunlight. But actually where it's a bit darker, and those darker greens, actually darken them down a bit. As I say, you can really see on the second image how by using that I can show the different creases is not the right word, but the undulations in the side of the valley, but also start to pull out the path that runs down the side, and the stream that's really meandering through the base of that valley. And these images, I think, as I say, are just some of my favourites that I've had so far this year. I'm absolutely delighted with them. As we're based in Sedbergh, we decided to take a walk straight out of Sedbergh. You can go straight up onto Winder. It's not a massively long walk, maybe 7.5k. It's a bit of a drag, and it was fairly hot and sunny on the day we did it. But as you can see, if you keep going, actually you end up at the calf. But we turned and then headed towards Winder, as it's called. There were a few images. Again, I'll take you with me, and you can have the joy of watching me sweat profusely as I walk. And yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch. If you got this far, probably about 3 people have, so well done you 3. Next time, I think the next video will probably be in Suffolk, and we'll go to the Suffolk coast. But this is just the end of the trip to the Dales. I hope you've had a good time. I hope you've enjoyed it. Coming along, listen to my guff and my guff. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a nice little comment. If you haven't enjoyed it, don't bother, I won't respond. If you really want to subscribe, crack on. I'm nearly at 100. Woo! 2022, year of getting to 100. The hundreds, cricket. I don't know where I'm going with this. So, thank you. And I'll catch you on the next time. Cheers for now. Bye bye.